There has been a lot of talk about the health of AEW and where its standing is in professional wrestling right now. So going into their biggest show of the year, I thought pretty good time to take a look at where All Elite Wrestling is in the entire wrestling landscape and just in their lifetime as we look at AEW's overall health going into All In. So, AEW has their biggest show of the year, All In. There's been a lot of talk about where AEW is at right now, so I thought, you know what, this is a pretty good time to look at the overall health of this company. And right now, it is moving in the right direction. This company is now and forever will be the work rate company, right? Like, there is no denying that. This is a company where like the best wrestle. I don't know if they have exclusivity to the best wrestlers in the world, but they certainly feel like they have it to the best matches in the world. And that has always been the case. But we have gone through a bit of a stretch with this company where it has kind of felt that there have been a few comparisons along the way. But the one that I think really strikes me, it is either mid 2010s WWE or late 2000s TNA, where none of the stories made sense, but you would tune in to watch the matches and it would be fine because you would get the 1 minute kind of video presentation of what they were going for storytelling wise, even though like they have to edit out a lot of things and change a whole lot of different things. You would at least get the snapshot of like, oh, that's what they were trying to do. And then you'd get an awesome match out of it. That is kind of what AEW turned into for about like 18 months there. I don't know what flipped. I don't know if there has been a change in who is doing the creative, if Tony Khan read a book, or if he just ran the whole roster through ChatGPT and was like, hey, can we build a actual wrestling show off of these guys? And it was like, yeah, bet, let's go, boom, and threw it all out there. But something has changed, and the creative feels very, very dialed in right now. There was a lot of time where AEW kind of got caught up in the wrong thing. It is something, just to bring it back to me, follow me on this journey. I promise it goes somewhere. I hope it does. That part of the joke will make sense in 1 second. I have ADD, diagnosed and now medicated for it. And so one of the things that is a symptom of that sometimes is that you can focus on the tiniest little detail and just like, okay, I need to have such attention to detail on this thing and then miss 5 other ones. The best example of it for me is weird one, cleaning the bathroom. The mirror will be absolutely filthy and disgusting, but I'll be goddamned if I didn't clean the fuck out of the light switch, okay? Like that is where I was at. And AEW, they had a clean light switch for a while, where it was, oh, we're not just going to have random camera guy in the back, we're going to explain who the camera person is and why there's a camera person here. And we're going to explain different things that tie us all together here for all these different reasons and forget actual like character progression and stories and stuff like that. But the attention has switched and the focus is now back on where it needs to. I don't know where that switched, but I do know where the first switch came. And it does really feel like it was the Adam Cole MJF build, right? The whole, these guys hate each other. Well, now they're teammates and now we're doing all these vignettes. There were some people who were turned off by the vignettes. But then the whole turn of Adam Cole turning on MJF, and Adam Cole is the devil. And he has these guys who are attached to either Adam Cole or MJF. And you have this thing, and it was just at that point, everyone almost collectively, you could hear the whole wrestling world roll their eyes at the same time. And the build went nowhere. And then MJF comes back and kind of feels like a babyface, but then quickly turns into a heel again. And we just flipped the whole dynamic. And they tried to explain it like 4 times to make it make sense, and it didn't. And it just felt like at that point, it was one of those things where, like you hear on the Monday Night War thing and all those things, Hulk Hogan talking about how like you can make a lot of little mistakes, but there's one big mistake, and then all of a sudden everyone's kind of taking a look at you. And again, we're not talking about the scale of what WCW was, but that felt like their Halloween Havoc, where the matches were fine, but like for Halloween Havoc 98, where it was Hogan Warrior and the match sucked. And then it went too long while being bad, and they couldn't get the finish of the pay-per-view on. And so it was at that point in WCW where everyone was like, well, that was dumb. And you start to get that, wait, are they dumb in the back of your head? And now everything goes through that filter. And it was kind of the same in AEW, where you could overlook a lot of like, well, that's silly. But then once the big silly thing happens, then it's like, well, wait a minute. All of this is kind of silly. And they could not just get the nose turned up on this thing at any point. Like I said, it has switched now, but it has been a bit with them trying to get out from that creative direction there. So things are going in the right direction, but now they do need the measurables to catch up, right? Attendance is up slightly, but it is still well away from what they were. A lot of the attendance figures feel small company-ish. And I remember, like, when AEW started, and you're going to these big arenas, and it is national television, it's like, oh my God, I am watching Bryan Danielson against Kenny Omega for 60 minutes at where the U.S. Open is at Arthur Ashe Stadium on national television. There's 20,000 people in there watching. Like, it is crazy that these amazing wrestlers get this big type of a thing. And so that was one of the draws of AEW, is that all these guys who I've watched in video clips from Reseda, California, in a room that is about the size of this office, spare bed, now I'm seeing them on national TV in these big arenas. And now I'm watching them on national TV in similarly sized arenas where they were wrestling on indies. You know, like it had a small time feel to it. And now they did a pretty good job in some instances of making those small arenas feel different, feel unique. They go to theater houses and esports stadiums and stuff like that. Like they did a good job of kind of making the best out of a bad situation, but there was nowhere to hide that there was a bad situation. And still, when you look at ticket sales, it's not great right now. They still have the ticket sales of a small company. And I do think that will turn. As the creative turns, as the momentum turns, that will kind of be the last thing that catches up, is that and TV ratings. Again, the TV ratings are going in the right direction, but they're not where they were even a year ago. So it is something that you need to really, I think, stick with this course. Because we have heard before how, like, bad creative, it takes a while for it to really set in the measurables, right? In the dollars and cents, at the ticket gate, merchandise sales, all of that. I think it's the same for building that momentum back up. You know, again, a lot of Attitude Era references on the show today, but like WWF, their 1997 was spectacular. And in like late 96 into 97. A lot of that stuff was really, really good, but they're getting bludgeoned by WCW, whose show isn't even as good, but it was the cool thing that we all latched onto, and so we were there. And so it took a while for WWF to really hit that stride and have kind of the measurables catch up to what we were all seeing with the creative direction and everything. I think that's the same here, where it would be a mistake to panic to see some of the things maybe not growing the way you would want it to with a refined approach, because it is going to change. This is an approach you need to stay patient with and need to grow with. But like Conrad said in the chat, there are still improvements that need to be made. The women's division is entirely underutilized. Like, again, there's one singles match on All In as of the time of this recording anyway, and then a gauntlet match. That's it. It's not close to what the messaging was at the time, where we were getting Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa in those deathmatch style things and everything like that. Like, they need more of that now on their main programming. And just in general, there's a lot of talent that is underutilized. And I've said before, I think that's where a partnership with New Japan can come in. I think that's where a partnership with CMLL can come in and really start to get this talent into a lot of different spaces. So AEW was in a bad spot. When you think about Brawl In, Brawl Out with CM Punk, and then kind of screwing up the Adam Cole MJF storyline and making two of your most dynamic performers who you focus basically a year on, making them both feel insignificant in a matter of moments. It was a lot, self-inflicted wounds, a lot of them, but it was a lot for them to come back from. And it does feel like they are righting the ship. And I just have this feeling that by this time next year, when we're talking about All In 2027, or All In 2026, sorry, certainly probably McMahon Stadium in Calgary, when we are talking about this big show, I think we are talking about a happy, healthy AEW that, again, is in actual hockey and basketball arenas instead of esports stadiums. And to close it out, like Conrad saying, I don't think they won't be, I don't think they will be making chicken salad from chicken shit at this time next year. But they need to stay patient and need to keep going on the road that they are going on.